Hello and welcome to my channel. I have started this series of videos in order to share some of the guidance, some of the tips and important information that could be useful for you in terms of planning your career and looking for new opportunities. In today's video, I will introduce you to some of the important points that you should keep in mind while looking for your career in the international organizations. First and foremost, you have to understand what an international organization means. Mostly it means the multilateral institutions such as the United Nations, the World Bank, the IMF, the World Trade Organization, and even other organizations such as NATO and so on and so forth. However, please keep in mind that while you apply for any of these organizations, mostly, almost 99%, the organizations would accept applications only from its member countries. Now we understand that United Nations has the most widespread membership. Almost every country is member of the United Nations, but that is not the case in many other organizations. For example, for the WTO, you have 164 members, or for NATO, it is entirely a different story. So please check whether your country of nationality is a member of the organization where you're applying. The second point that you have to keep in mind while applying is that do not just send your application like that. Please check the job description properly. Please check the minimum requirements, whether you meet that, and if you really have a specific experience in that area. Now, most of the times, it looks quite alluring that you would send an application because you meet the minimum requirements, but you do not pay attention to the job specific description. Now, the multilateral organizations or the international organizations are extremely competitive, because imagine they invite applications from all parts of the world, from almost all of the countries or the member countries, and you would have a huge competition. So do not reduce your chances by sending applications to each and every job where you meet the minimum requirements. Please send your application where you feel that you have a certain edge and you have that specific experience. But at the same time, I would say that if you do meet up to, let's say, 50% of the specific experience and the relevant qualifications, please do apply. Keep in mind that you get hundreds and thousands of applications for each position advertised in these international organizations. So your probability is very low. Not that you are not eligible, not that you are the special ones, but just imagine you have your competitors from all over the world. Another point that needs to be considered while you're applying for these positions is that you have to see what is your X factor. What is the specialty that you can contribute to that organization. Let's say there is a position of the economic affairs officer in a certain organization. Now, if you look at the generic job description, I think probably thousands of people would qualify for that. But then you have to see what is your X factor. If it is, let's say, economic affairs officer dealing with the debt management, have you really worked on the debt management? Have you done something particular in terms of research or policy or something like that? So please keep in mind that you have to have some X factor in order to be even considered for shortlisting. Now, what matters quite a lot is the timing of your application as well, or when did you apply? For example, if there is a big recruitment cycle going on in an organization, you would have much higher opportunity than, let's say, one-off type of position. Now, for the young aspirants, I would always say that try to look out for these young professionals program or similar positions. Of course, the United Nations has a young professionals program, the World Bank does, and then some of the other regional development banks as well. So if there is a recruitment cycle going on, for example, IMF does a recruitment cycle for its economists, that would be the best opportunity because you would have much more consideration. If there is one-off position in a certain organization, normally the applications would be quite high. The number of applications would be quite high, and of course the chances would be a bit lower. One point that I see often people ignore in applying to the international organizations is that they do not tailor their CV or their profile or the cover letter for the specific position, because every position has something different, a different set of requirements, different type of skill sets. So even if you're eligible for many positions, please tailor your application. Do not just click, send the same CV, because nowadays, as you know, it is the online profile creation, and you can just press a button and then send to the multiple applications or multiple vacancy announcements. Please do not do that. Put a little bit effort in tailoring your application. There is no shortcut to any of these international organizations, but there is a shortcut as well. You know what? If you get a short-term opportunity, that means either an internship if you are at the start of the career, or a consulting assignment, a short-term consulting assignment, or a short-term temporary position in any of the organizations, go for that. Immediately go for that, because that would give you exposure to that organization, and that would give you a visibility in the eyes of that system or that organization that would be in your favor in the longer term. So do not miss those short-term opportunities. One of the key things is to stay positive and keep on applying. Please keep in mind that the probability of selection in the international organizations for a staff position is one of thousands, and I mean one of thousands. And those thousands are all those people who are equally qualified or eligible. So it is a game of probability, it's a game of luck as well. Oftentimes I've seen that even best of the best qualified people would not even be shortlisted, because there is a multiple factors, as I explained earlier. So do not get disgruntled. Even if you get 100 rejections or 100 failures, there could be a time when the 101st application is your success factor. So stay positive and keep on applying and keep consistent in that. But as I said earlier, do not just apply to each and everything. Apply only where you have some chances and you are really the eligible candidate. For the aspirants of career in international organizations, I always say that you have to follow this 4G or 5G model. The 4Gs being, first, that you have to have the generic qualifications that are applicable for that position. Then what matters is the geography, because in the international organizations, they have to keep a geographical balance, the regional balance, sub-regional, and in certain cases, the country type of balance as well. So sometimes geography could be in your favor, and the other times it could be against you, because there would be more people already from your country or the region. Then gender. Nowadays, most of the international organizations are aiming for a 50-50 gender balance. So if you're on the right side for the timing, that means you are a female candidate, you have better chances. The fourth C is your government, because in some cases the governments actually support their candidates. Many of the developed countries actually have their own young professional programs. That means they sponsor their candidates to be lodged in some of these organizations for a year or 2 years. And then of course those candidates have better exposure, better chances to be selected later on. And if your government is a big donor to the system or to the organization, certainly that could be an advantage as well. And then the final G, of course, I always say the God's will. It is all about the probability. It is the game of the probability and timing, and that is where we say the God's hand. If it is in your favor, certainly you would have a chance. Please keep in mind that for many of the international organizations, they have their own application systems. For example, UN has its own career management system, and it has its own career website where you can upload your profile. So are the others. For example, the World Bank, IMF, WTO, UNICEF, FAO, ILO, and so on and so forth. Ideally, if you have time, at least make your profile, upload all of your profiles in as many organizations as possible. Because what it would help you is that whenever there is a relevant opportunity, you can save your time, of having your basic profile already uploaded over there, and then you can tailor it according to the job specific requirements and send it over. Because sometimes if you do not have the profiles, some of these organizations have extremely complex or lengthy profile management systems or your CV management systems. So it is better if you have done it already. And then the other advantage is that most of these profiles that are uploaded are used for the short-term opportunities as well. So at least you are there, you're present over there, and then there's a probability that you could be picked for even some of the short-term opportunities whenever they arise. Now, in case of the next steps in terms of the interviews and so on and so forth, I will definitely cover in next videos. I do not want to make this video quite long. I will let you know what exactly is a competency-based interview system, because that is what is used in the international organizations, which is quite different than, not really much different, because even the private sector is now going towards that. But I will explain to you what exactly this competency-based interview system is, and how should you prepare yourself should you go to the next steps of your application. So until then, stay positive, best of luck, and thank you very much. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. If you would like me to cover something specific, please write either in comments or to the email that is given in the description box, and I will try to make the videos which are really useful to you. Until then, goodbye.